So the folks who most like to call themselves pro-lifers, really I call them anti-abortionist, but they like to call themselves pro-lifers. But it seems like they're not concerned with the life of those people that are out there, or they're only concerned about the rights of a certain kind of people. It isn't difficult at all to solve our weapons of mass destruction problem. Actually, it has destroyed a lot of lives already. But they like to use the Second Amendment as the corroborator for why they can't make the change. When the reality is a constitution written by a whole bunch of folks that don't have an idea of what life is like or could be like or would be like today are the ones who write these laws. And even if you were to take the interpretation of the Second Amendment like they wrongly take, it would seem sensible that people who believe in life would actually make sure that that particular amendment is dissolved or ignored like we do with many others, right? But no, that's not what it's all about. It's never been about pro-life. It has always been about pro-money. But again, let's hear from former FBI special agent, who was on MSNBC making an interesting commentary about guns. But the one that I really love is the way former U.S. Secretary Joyce Vance talks about the unarmed guy is the one who really got it done.
How was that person able to get a weapon? What, were there any indicators that were out there, and what could we do? And then just comes down to impact. That person has body armor, an AR-15, and a handgun. That's what the law enforcement officers have too. They're equally armed to the teeth, as if they are in the military, except they are here in our country just shooting people innocently. So we have not addressed this for many years. And again, the solution wasn't a good guy with a gun. It was a good guy risking his entire life based on his experience in multiple combat zones that stopped an even greater tragedy on that night.
Here it's too late after the mass shooting has already occurred, when we have the capacity to act in advance to prevent these sorts of crimes, to do a better job of keeping the guns out of the hands of people who are inclined to use them in this way. We're lucky that there was a good guy without a gun who wasn't afraid to take action in this situation. That's a terrible burden for our government and for our elected officials to impose on individuals. And so we've lived through, just most recently, a term of the Supreme Court where they've made it easier for individuals to have guns, including the type of gun used here, in public places. The trend in the law is not a trend that's more protective. And as we continue to see our public officials carelessly engaging in hate speech that demonizes, in this instance, members of the LGBTQ community, we know that hate speech unfortunately translates into actions like this by people at the margins, people who have, whether it's some form of instability or whether they're just completely eroded by hate, who will take a gun and turn it on innocent people out trying to enjoy a night with each other. It's a situation we need to end.
So yes, it didn't take a good guy with that weapon of mass destruction. It took an unarmed, brave person, something we could never say about those politicians who want to keep these people armed at all costs. But of course, you can't go certain places that they go with those guns while they want others to go elsewhere, right? So folks, let's not be fooled. If you want change, start in the primaries. Elect progressives who will change the laws in the Senate, change the laws to ensure that we don't need to have a threat. We don't need to be held hostage by those who really do not value life, and start making the changes that we need to make to our laws on weapons. But as we know, the Supreme Court will be waiting. That Supreme Court that was instituted by those who didn't win any elections, doesn't matter. They will attempt to overthrow it or overturn it. And likewise, we need to elect those that are going to be willing to right size the court again so that it reflects the people whose judgments it holds. We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number one, subscribe to our channel. And number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.